Hi guys, it's Debbie with Debbie J's Crafting Corner. Today I'm making a new design team project for Scrappy Tales, and this is using their October collection. It had that real pretty lantern that I still haven't made yet. But anyway, I've been using different pieces from the kits to make some cards because they don't have to be used with the lantern. You can use all the bits for other things. And what I'm using today is a die that cuts out this little guy. It's actually for one of the windows in the lantern, and I'm going to use this on the front of a card. So I'm cutting out a few different ones just in some white cardstock, so I've got a little bit of thickness there, and I'm going to cut one out of some gold glitter cardstock that I had in my stash. So go ahead and cut that baby out. And I'm going to run it backwards and forwards through my machine because sometimes cutting through glitter cardstock doesn't always work as well as I would like. Sometimes it needs a little bit extra help. And this die did real well just cutting out the plain white, so it may go through without a problem. I've got a gold frame there that I can trim up and use for something else. And it looks like all of the bits are coming out of this pretty gold cardstock. Awesome! So I'm going to layer all of those guys up. It'll give us a little bit of thickness, and then I can put it on the front of some other pattern paper and some cardstock. Okay, so I've got 4 layers of the white cardstock. And now I'll add my gold to the top. And I'm just putting some liquid glue behind all of those little branches on my tree. And I am going through all of those, even though they are kind of tiny for some of them, because I want to make sure that the branches all stick together and we don't have, pieces pulling up, because that would not be as fun. And of course, around the outside of the frame. And then I'll just put it on top and line the whole thing up. It's nice when you've got some straight edges to go with because you can line up your straight edges and the rest of it will be perfect. I initially thought I would go with this scrap that I have here. It's where I used half of it for another card. But to be honest, I like this, but I don't really like it going that way. Does that make sense? So I think what I'm going to use instead, still going with the dark blue, so I've got that real good contrast. I'm going to go with this one that is some snowflakes. And I'm going to cut this down to about in half. So kind of what my thought is. I'm going to make this have a dark blue strip either down the middle or partly off to the side, and it doesn't really matter which direction I go. So I could go this. I'm just kind of auditioning the pieces to see what I like better, and I think I like it this way. So I'm going to cut that right down the center at 3 inches because this is a 6 by 6 inch paper pack, and this is also part of the October collection. Yeah, I think 3 inches will be perfect. This is part of the October collection from Scrappy Tales. So this will go kind of like that. And now I have to decide what kind of paper do I want for the background. That would be kind of cool, I guess. So I'm also thinking I want to have a little bit of something else, another pattern along the edges instead of having it just on white cardstock. So like usual, I started pulling out stuff and changed my mind. So this piece, this here, is a card base that I've had in my stash since I put a few of them together last time I did one of these. So I had a couple of extras. It's basically scored a little bit differently. I have it scored at 2 3/4, and then again at 7 inches, so it's still A2 size, but what I think I'm going to do this time around is I'm going to put my dark color cardstock here, and then I can use this kind of as a little, I don't know, almost like a looks almost like a buckle with that pretty gold, but I want to make this a little bit more sturdy than I already have, so I've got out some vellum. So that's going to be my next step. I'm going to adhere this down onto the vellum and then cut around the edges. Okay, so let's start assembling this card. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to adhere this to the front here. So I'm going to go ahead and put a bunch of adhesive down. Okay, and add my snowflakes. And I think, to be honest, I don't think it really matters where it is positioned on there. I want it this side, which means I need to make sure that this edge is close to the inside part of my card. So I'm going to line that up with the bottom and press it in place. Double check, make sure the edge is right. Okay, great. And then when I'm done, all I'll need to do is just trim along the outside. So that'll be good. And then this is going to go here. And then for this last bit, I could still go with this, but I'm wondering if I'm going to be kind of just wasting it, or if I just want to go with this tan color. Not sure. Let me go ahead and trim this piece down first, though. Just going to take my scissors and trim along the edge of my card base. Just be sure not to cut the card itself, because if you cut along where it folds, you're not going to have a card base anymore. You will have separate panels, and I have done that before. Okay, so that looks kind of good. Again, this is going to go here, so I'm going to go ahead and add adhesive around the back of this on this side, on the right side, which is going to be the left side when it's facing the right way. Starting off within the center and going to each of my branches to make sure everything stays down well. And then, of course, around this outside edge here. Okay. And then let's just line that up kind of in the center, with the trunk of my tree being right along that line. Okay, and I'm going to let that sit for a minute to dry. So I think what I want to do is I want to use this paper instead. I think. I'm going to flip through again just to double check. I think that is the one that I want to do. And this is again from the card kit of the month from Scrappy Tail. Actually, I don't know if it was card kit or not, but it was pattern paper, Winter Flurry. So there's a lot of pretty papers in there, but this one, I do think I would like this one. It kind of is give a little bit of interest to this piece of the panel, to this piece of the card front, without, I don't know, I think I just need it to be a little bit lighter than the other. Okay, so this one just need to cut right about there. Let me grab my paper trimmer. And that is, again, that one is about 1.5 inches, so I'll cut a little bit more than 1.5 inches off to be on the safe side. So let's cut it to 1 1/4. And if I measured right, that should give me about 1/4 inch extra. And I'll go ahead and adhere that down to that other flap of my card front. And again, you do want to make sure that you're right up with that inside edge. See if I can get that. Okay. And so I'm tapping the inside edge down on my card, on my desktop to make sure that it's just right flush with that. And then all I need to do is trim off that excess. I do like the way that that is looking. So pretty. For the sentiment, I'm going to actually add that on the inside because the outside is... For the sentiment, I'm going to actually add that on the inside because the outside is already so pretty. And I'm taking this from the English Winter Village stamp set from Scrappy Tales. There's this nice big Happy Christmas. I'm going to stamp that down with blue suede. I'm sorry, suede shoes from Catherine Pooler. I'm going to try to get this as close as I can to straight because I'm not able to use my MISTI because of the amount of dimension that I have from my from that tree on the front. Okay, let that rest for a second. Perfect. So now we have that on the inside, and then we have our pretty tree on the outside. And I do have a couple of strips of the pattern paper from the outside. So I think what I'm going to do... I can't put them vertically because they're two different ones. I don't really like that. I think I'm just going to put this one down at the bottom here and trim that off. So this needs to be about 4 1/4. So I'll just clip it off. And if it's not exactly right, that is totally fine too. And just adhere that down with some liquid glue. Okay, I'm going to say that that is close enough, and that is going to finish up this card for today. You guys have a wonderful day. Be sure to check out this playlist over here for some more projects where I'm using Scrappy Tales products, and you guys have a wonderful day and Merry Christmas. Bye, guys.